All right, so to get started, let's go ahead and add a div to contain our nav. We'll drag this to the top. And let's go ahead and give this just a section of nav wrap. Inside this, we'll give another div that is our container class. And then lastly, inside of this, let's give another div and we'll call this nav layout. With this nav layout, we'll do flex, we'll do horizontal, and we'll put them all aligned to center and to the top. Now let's go ahead and inside of our nav layout, let's add a link block. We're going to give this the class of nav link. For now, we can go ahead and do 0.5 rem of padding around all the sides, and we'll give it a minimum width of 10 rem just to space it out a little bit. Further down, let's go ahead and set some font styles. I'm just going to go semi-bold, 0.75 rem, and let's go with 65% opacity on this font here. And then lastly, we'll go and give this a background of pure white. So inside of this nav link, we'll just add a text block. And let's go ahead and give it the text of blueprint for now. That looks good. And we want to go ahead and remove that text decoration. And let's go ahead and also capitalize all caps so that that looks like that. Perfect. And then lastly, let's go down to our border here. And let's add just on the left side a 1 pixel border of black. And actually, I'll put in an actual hex code here. So we'll go 09090D. And then we'll do 10% opacity. So we just have a small gray line right there. It might be hard to see on the video. And lastly, let's go ahead and set the nav link to flex, and then the space between right here. And inside of this nav link, we're going to put an SVG. I'm going to use the SVG import Webflow app to do this. As you can see, it's just an arrow. And let's go ahead and give this the class of arrow SVG. We'll give it a width of 0.75 rem. And we'll set its font color to 2042 EB. And that looks good. So now let's go ahead and take the arrow SVG. We're going to go ahead and turn its opacity down to 0. And then let's go ahead and duplicate our nav link a few times. I'm going to add 5 of them in here. And we'll change out this text. All right, so now that that text is changed out, we're going to go ahead and add an embed on here and open some style tags. And some closing style tags here. And inside of this, we're going to target nav link and the last child. So this is just targeting that last nav link that we have. And we're going to go ahead and give it a border right style of solid. Cool. And then we'll just go on to the nav link and make sure that the right side also has that same color applied. So that way, and then let's go ahead also and just click on the last one and give it a style of none. And then that custom CSS will override it. So we have that same gray line over here on both ends. So now we're ready to dive into doing the GSAP work on this. So let's go ahead and open a new tab and go to GSAP installation. And we're going to go CDN. And we just need the core GSAP library here. So we'll copy that and go back to Webflow. Let's go to your page settings and then paste it in your before closing body tags, just like that. And then I'm going to be typing the rest of the code on Slater just to host it there, but you can do that in this closing body tag section if you want to. All right, so in a new JavaScript file on Slater, let's go ahead and first target our nav links. So we'll open up a selector and we'll do nav link just like this. And we're going to target this when we hover in to a nav link. So we're going to go .on mouse enter, just like that. We're going to go function and then open up some brackets here. So the first thing we want to do on mouse enter is we want to save some things into variables. So we'll do let component equal this. So the nav link that we hover into will be saved as component. We'll let arrow equal component. So this component, and then inside of that, we'll find the element with the class of arrow SVG. And we'll also find the neighbors. So these are the, when we hover, how the ones next to them drop down, we need to target those as well. So we'll go here, we'll go let neighbor equal, and then we're going to go this dot prev. So we're going to target the previous nav link. And then we're also going to add to the neighbor inside another selector this dot next. So what's happening there is now in the neighbor component, we have the previous nav link and the next nav link saved under one variable. So those are all of our variables set. Now we can go ahead, return a few lines, and start animating in GSAP. So our first thing is we're going to animate the top padding of our component. So we're going to do GSAP.to. So this is saying we're going to animate it from the value that it just has set in the CSS to a new value. We're going to target the component, and we're going to animate its padding top. And we're going to do 3 rem. So it's going to go from that 0.5 rem up to the 3 rem. That's good. That's all we need on that one. Next, we're going to do GSAP.to, and we're going to target the neighbors. So those are the ones that are directly to the left and right of our nav link that we're hovering into. And in here, we're going to do padding top, and we're going to do 2 rem on this. So if we save this and go over to our page and refresh, you'll see that works as expected. When we hover in, it's going to go to the previous and next item and set them to 2 rem. Now, obviously, they're sticking to that because we're not animating the leaving yet. But if we hover on 1, that's working exactly how we want. One thing I'm noticing too when we do this is that the headline is moving up and down too. So we want to go back to our Webflow page, go to our nav wrap, and just set this to position absolute to the top of the page. And we can publish that. So now when we hover, those things don't move the main heading. So now in our code, let's go ahead and target the arrows. So we'll do GSAP.to, and we're going to target the arrow variable. And inside here, we're going to do opacity of 1, do a comma, and then rotate to -45 degrees. Now, one other thing we're going to do is set the duration to be a little bit quicker on this. So we're just going to go 0.2 for the duration. GSAP's default duration is 0.5 seconds, and for our padding top, that actually feels really good. So I'm just going to leave that at 0.5, and then the arrow at 0.2 will feel a little nicer. So if we save this and go back to our project and refresh, now you can see when we hover, that arrow appears. Perfect. So now we need to animate when we hover out. So let's go back to Slater. And we're actually going to do this above our mouse enter. The reason we want to do this is because if we enter into a nav link and then we hover out like this, so imagine as I leave, I'm hovering into a new object. We want the hover out to reset everything before we start animating the hover in, or else things can start to get a little wonky. So we're going to go ahead and target our nav link, and we're going to do on mouse leave. And then we're going to do another function similar to below. Function. And perfect. Inside of here, we're going to do GSAP.to. And we're going to just target every nav link that there is. So that's regardless of if they're a neighbor or the nav link that we're leaving out of. Just it's going to reset every nav link. So we're going to target every nav link. And we're going to set its padding top to 0.5 rem. So just back to the default. Perfect. And then we're going to do GSAP.to. And we're going to target all arrow SVGs. And similar here, we're going to target the opacity, set it back to 0, and the rotate, and set that to 0 degrees. And then also let's make sure we go ahead and set that duration to the 0.2 like below. And then one thing I'm noticing, I forgot to put a period right here before our nav link to target that class. So now if we save and we go over to our hover and we refresh, when we exit or when we enter, everything works as expected. When we exit, everything resets. And then if we go across, that same thing happens. So everything works exactly how we want. So this is how to make an expanding drop-down navigation inside of Webflow using GSAP. If this was helpful, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. And also, I have a Patreon now, so I'll be posting additional tutorials over there if you want to learn more. And also, I would go over to Twitter and give Benton here a follow for the original inspiration. I appreciate him letting me use his design here to make a tutorial. So that's it. Thank you for joining today, and have a good one. Bye-bye.